1. Okay. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode review of HBO Max's The Penguin, episode 4, titled Saint-Denis. I'll first do a quick plot point breakdown of the episode, and then I'll go into spoilers, give you my thoughts on the episode, and again, I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I know I said I'd keep it under 10 minutes, but I seem to really enjoy this. So, starts off with Sophia in a flashback of being at a charity event regarding the suicide of her mother. It is a suicide prevention charity, and she gives a speech regarding what happened and how she'd like to help other women in her position. We see the Penguin there as her driver, looking a little bit thinner, maybe, more hair on his head. And as she walks out, she gets ambushed by a reporter. There are better channels that do Easter eggs and like those kinds of things, pointing out like, oh, look at that, look at this. So I'd recommend you go look at them. I'm going to do my best to just break it down. And then if I miss something, I probably didn't do it on purpose. I just forgot. I do have it pulled up here just in case I do forget a moment in the episode. After she leaves the charity event and is ambushed by the reporter, they drive home. It cuts to them having dinner. Her brother Alberto, and her father Falcone, who was recast from the other wonderful actor who played Falcone in the movies. And then they're having a talk, a sit down. He declares that he wants her to take over the family when, if anything were to happen to him, or that he would announce it at his birthday party. And we get the sort of backstory there that she's not super crazy, or what we thought, because she mentions how she feels about her mother's suicide and how long it's been. And her father's like, don't even mention it. Like, it upsets me. And so that kind of puts her on edge after all these years. Then it's her brother and her talking, interacting. It's really nice to see them interacting, because she's explained to us how close these two were, and we really get to see the small moments that we see that they interact right after the dinner. They seem to really be able to give us a good vibe of how, they were as brother and sister. How he is sort of playing the young playboy gangster, and she is the younger sister who is, just trying to be part of her family and not really involve herself. At least that's what it looks like. Let's see. And then after, her suspicions lead her to go and reach out to the reporter. Looks at what she has. She suspects that her father is the one who murdered women who have been reported to have been strangled and hanged in the club 44 Below. There is, I forget the name of the club that it's the one, what's it called? They worked at 44 Below, and then the Iceberg Lounge, and then it's the 44 Below is where the club where all the mobsters and the heads of state would meet up. So she shows her all these photos. Well, guess who drove her? Oswald, the Penguin, and you already know how he is. His first thought was like, well, hey, like, let me go ahead and take advantage of the situation. She's telling on the family, and he's part of the family, technically speaking. Then we cut to the birthday party. Sophia looks absolutely incredible. I'll give more of my thoughts, because I read some stuff on Twitter about how this episode is just the highest rated show on television. It's so good, this and that. Honestly, like, I think people are overreacting. Like, I mean, the episode was good, but I thought it lost a little bit of momentum. This is just me. I mean, I'm a fan of these kinds of things. I wanted to do good. It just doesn't mean that it was the fucking best. I mean, compared to a lot of shit on television right now, I mean, I should say streaming, I mean, this is as good as it almost gets. And again, like, I compare this to The Sopranos. Like, I mean, there's a mafia aspect to this, and the way you do it is, well, I mean, David Chase has done it the best he can, so, I mean, there's no reason to rewrite the formula. Shit happens. You go against the family, shit happens. So basically, without getting into spoilers, again, she meets with her father. Father tells him, "Hey, yo, like, what are you doing? Why don't you come to me instead of going to the reporter?" He finds out. Obviously, he knows how she finds out. Soon after, as she has an interaction with her father, the interaction kind of goes a bit. There's a lot of tension there, and again, Sophia is beautiful. Like she's just gorgeous. Like her eyes, the brunette hair. Like, I don't want to get carried away, but if the people were rating this high as fuck, I think the people who were rating it were just certain people who find her extremely attractive, and I would say women who were comparing themselves to her, in a sense. And then after that, Oswald, her dad basically kicks her out of the house. I mean, or I should say, out of the party, tells her, "Hey, please drive her home." On the way home, they get pulled over. She gets arrested, and then from there she ends up, and she goes to jail. Again, from the things we know about what happened in the Batman and how the Falcones and the mob families manipulated things with the money that Thomas Wayne left behind for the renovations and like the renewal of the city. It was pretty. They all had enough money to put everyone in their pocket, so that puts her in a bad situation when she's like now in jail. And there's no answers to this. She's arrested, goes to jail. No, actually, she's sent to Arkham. Right. We're now understanding why this happened. And then while at Arkham, she's the process of being what do you call it? Initiated, or I should say, inducted into Arkham as one of the patients. They show us everything going on with like the way they strip her down. They have to check everything, and then boom, from there they go on to what her living situation is there. It just gets worse and worse and worse, and then we cut back. I'm trying to keep it short from the breakdown. She goes to Arkham. We cut back to her. Again, she was told that if she doesn't go to Italy within a day or two, that Johnny Vitti was gonna make sure no one finds her. It was essentially kill her. Let me give you my thought that I want to go into spoilers or some details, some finer details about what happens there. I'll just give you my thoughts. I thought the episode was good, but it was a Sophia episode. The Penguin is in it. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10, because I didn't think it hit the same heights as the first 3 episodes. This is sort of like we're establishing what happened to Sophia, and I get it. There was a lot already that we had learned about Sophia and how she ended up in Arkham, and there were a lot of hints about her being the hangman not really being true, but I'm gonna say that I give it a 7. I don't think it's the best episode of television. Maybe right now it is. I think there are other things that maybe I really can't think off the top of my head, but I mean HBO has a reputation for good stuff and really bad stuff, and I think people are just overreacting. I don't know where people are getting this idea that it's the best show on television. Yes, right now it is, but come on, like it's not that fucking good. It's not that fucking great. You just have been watching a lot of shitty shows. If you're watching streaming a lot, and most people, regular people don't have enough time to dedicate to like 1-2 shows. You got a family, you've got kids, or you have a full-time job. Then definitely you don't have that same amount of time to go and say, hey, I'm going to watch one show, I'm going to watch another one. And especially if it's a good one, don't get me wrong, there's no padding in these episodes. Everything is filled to the brim. Every moment is filled to the brim. But again, I give it a 7 out of 10. The first 3 are a lot better. Again, it's all about the rewatchability. Like, can you go back and rewatch this? Can you sit down and say, I want to watch The Penguin again? Like, oh my God, it was so good. I don't think so. I think whoever is just highly rating this is got some rose tinted goggles on and is just praising it because it's, you know, there it is what it is, and it is just a mob show in the Batman universe, and Batman deals with a lot of mobster criminals. He doesn't really deal. I mean, now I'm gonna get criticized for not knowing Batman enough, but he does obviously have super villains with superpowers. I mean, you've got Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy, what's his name? I mean, I don't know if Scarecrow counts. But the really good ones, the grounded ones, are what we like to see. It's good and evil. We know the mafia is conducting illegal, illegal things. Anyways, let me move on to the spoiler section. I give it a 7, a solid 7. If I gave it an 8, I'd be lying to myself because it was good. Sophia, she's beautiful. I'd give it an 8 just for her and that black and green sundress, the black floral green, lime green sundress that she was wearing. Just absolutely just incredible by the fucking costume department. But let me move on to the spoiler section. Okay, so just a fair warning, gonna go into the smaller details about what this episode is clearing up about the last 3 episodes of questions we had regarding Sophia. So here we go. So Sophia is set up by her father as the hangman. It is very obvious to us that he is the one who's been murdering all these women who are prostitutes in the 44 Below lounge. In the flashback, we see her find her mother hanging in her bedroom, or I guess the master bedroom, and her father walks in and consoles her and tries to take off his glasses, and as he pushes them back up, there are scratch marks on his hand. That indicates to us, all of us, it's very obvious if you didn't see it right away. I didn't see it at first. I went back and watched it. That he killed them. And it's obvious because during the interaction they had at his birthday party, he immediately starts to gaslight her. Straight up just gaslight her. He's like, yo, you're not thinking straight. You're not feeling well. Why would you do this to me? Like, I'm your father. Like, are you sure you're okay? Like, let me send you home because you're not acting right. Just a straight up gaslighting. Just straight up making her believe that she's in the wrong. She's not, not thinking straight, doesn't have her head on right. And dude, it just goes from 0 to 100 real quick, because on the way home, when she gets arrested, one of the officers is someone that we met in the movie, much younger, arrests her. The Penguin ain't doing shit. It was obviously him who ratted her out to her father, right? So now we have, on top of him killing Alberto, which she finds out right in the last episode. On top of him killing Alberto, she now knows that he threw her under the bus, and her father just went like, was just like, nah, I'm not having this. I'm gonna sacrifice my daughter to the fucking wolves. I'm gonna throw her to the wolves and make sure she doesn't fucking say a word, because he uses everything in his power, quite literally pulls all the strings he has to pay off the cop, to pay off the doctors. And again, here we meet another. This is why I give it a 7, because I don't know what this fucking guy is doing in here. And I have nothing against the actor. I don't know if it's just my brain or something, but I just associate him with like low budget streaming service like shows. I don't know the actor's name, but he plays the doctor, Julian Nash. Okay, so Julian Nash is one of the doctors. Well, let me explain what happens when she gets into Arkham. I mean, she's being like gaslighted into believing that she's the hangman, that she killed those 6 women and her mother. Well, they don't explicitly say that, but I mean, it's obvious. I think that they make it clear that she's one of the victims. She's in the victims of the hangman, and so Sophia is not the hangman. It's very obvious now that it's Falcone, but he's already dead in the movie. He was shot dead by the Riddler. Now, Riddler was right all along. He was fighting against the poor people. He was fighting for justice. Did what Batman couldn't do, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. And you want to feel for Sophia, but again, the Arkham stuff doesn't feel like. Is there other people in Arkham, like other supervillains in there that I'm supposed to notice? And I don't know if it's just me, but like being crazy, mentally insane, or just off your rocker, missing a bit of marbles, she gets in there after being straight up and probed and inspected like a just like a toy, like they went and searched every single cavity, right? And when she gets locked up after meeting the doctors, she's told that she'll have trial in 6 months. So she has to wait 6 months before she even gets a chance to defend herself. So while she's in there, she meets her cellmate. Well, it's not really her cellmate. It's like in the next one. She's isolated with no visitors for 6 months. No visitors. And that would certainly drive someone insane. So she meets this other inmate in there, and again, it's hard to believe any of these crazy people in there. Like, I just don't see it. It felt a little low budget. I don't know if I like, it just felt like Sophia. You feel bad for her. She's a very pretty woman. Comes from a different world. Is in there because her father is is pinning all the murders on her. And there comes a moment where she's in the asylum, Arkham Asylum, where she sees the patients receiving the red pills, that drug that she is now cooking up outside of in the current timeline. She is just familiar with it and understands that, like, the people she's told by one of her cellmates that if you are on good behavior, they give you this drug, right? Because we know it creates euphoria, makes you feel better, kind of disassociates you with where you are. Again, like, I wasn't trying to think ahead, but there's a hit on her. Like, they try to kill her in there. One of the cellmates is not on chains and comes and immediately starts harassing her. As soon as they start harassing her, she's afraid. Now, they immediately start gaslighting her into it again, and then they say, like, hey, you were attacked? Did you believe that this was set up? Did you think that her chains were not on her, or, like, she wasn't chained up on purpose? And her doctors are just like, is that what you think? Is that what you're telling us? And, just straight up just making her believe that it's all in her head. About a day passes by, and after the incident, they immediately put her into shock therapy. Dude, the fucking guy, the main doctor, the warden, just immediately, just straight up starts torturing her. Like, no remorse. Just torturing her to no what is it saying? Like, to no extent. I think that's what it's saying. Straight up just shocking her head into submission to make her believe. And it's almost not working, because she's retaining all of her sanity while this is all going on. And again, the relationship between the doctor and her is so fucking weak. It's obvious he likes her. They make a reference to that, that maybe he, like, sexually molested her or something. But there's no instance of that where I'm like, where I don't see it. I mean, there was no indication that happened, because after her being shocked over and over and over again, 6 months are up. Finally, Alberto comes to visit her. Alberto just has really bad news and tells her, hey, they're not accepting your trial. And it's obvious, because her father paid off the judge, paid off the lawyers, paid off the doctor. There's just no getting around it. Her father is in charge, and he's been in charge this whole time, since Thomas Wayne died. Since technically he saved his life, went from a bullet wound. Now, knowing all this, again, I don't see where people get the idea that this was such a great episode. IMDb 9.4. Where are you what are you talking about? It's like a fucking solid 8 at best. Like, sure, it was good, but it just feels low budget when she's in Arkham. Just low budget. I don't know, maybe they're saving the budget for something later. But no, like even me, like, I love Easter eggs. So why couldn't she interact with, like, I don't know, like a Harley Quinn type character, or a fucking, someone who's like an intern, or something like that. Like, what if Harley Quinn was an intern or something? Like, I get it, spin off this, spin off that. But no, like, it's just fucking stupid. No, it just wasn't that good. Like, I liked it. Okay, it was good, but it wasn't great. Jesus. Okay, so then, after the flashback of her being in Arkham is over and, she's finally getting released, she flashes back to the moment after last episode when, the Maroni family ambushed Penguin and Sophia in the back alley of the club, and she was having a panic attack. Calls her doctor, Julian Nash, picks her up. She wakes up on his couch, and immediately was like, "Hey, like, I'm glad you called me. I'm glad you're okay. Go ahead and shower. And there's breakfast." She changes, and then comes down back to his office, and she starts kind of snooping around, not really like digging, just kind of snooping around, and it occurs to her that the only reason he's being nice to her is because he likes her. And again, this is such a weak thing. I also forgot to mention that while she was in Arkham, she did murder someone because she was fucking tired of this. She murdered the cellmate, because she was just tired of this shit. I mean, like, she did it, and that caused her to even get into more trouble. And again, like, it's whatever. Like, it was kind of, it's not that it was contrived, it was good. I'm just like, okay, like, you're gonna kill her, but there's nothing new here. There was no shock value. Like, they were already trying to kill her. They already tried to set her up for her to kill someone else, and then she ended up killing someone else, and it didn't have that impact like the Penguin killing Alberto or the Penguin killing the kids. Like, I believed, like, Sophia felt cooler when she shot the teenager in the greenhouse in the first episode versus now knowing that she's like this innocent little girl and like all she wants to do is have her life back and take up with the family like she did when Alberto was there. But she lost so much of her life being in the fucking insane asylum that it just feels, it sucks, but it doesn't hit the same way because this is the Penguin and not the Sophia Falcone show. But it feels like it's gonna turn into a bloodbath because, I mean, it kind of is already. So after the flashback's over and she ditches Julian Nash, like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's doing here. Like, literally adds nothing to the story. Like, it didn't make me feel a difference for whatever relationship she has with him. Like, there's 4 episodes left, right? What the fuck is he gonna do in the next 4? Like, I feel like he does. I hope, like, and I hope he's not a villain. Like, I hope he's not something because I don't like this actor. Like, I have nothing against him. I just don't think he fits that because I just see him and I see the CW levels of fucking acting. Anyways, he was in Luke Cage. He was the guy that was into Daft Dude's fucking grandma or mother or whatever. Anyways, he was one of his lackeys. I forgot. One of the main actors. I forgot his name. But anyways, so she gets back. She has a day left before she's forced to go to Italy. She goes to the family dinner. And it turns out they all wrote letters to the judge. I mean, it didn't even matter, right? It didn't matter. The letters had nothing to do with it. The judge was already in Falcone's pocket. So whether they wrote the fucking letters or not, it didn't fucking matter. Because they were still gonna send her to Arkham Asylum. And so her cousin, we've met in the show, she's made a cameo. See, like, her family members make more of an impact than Julian Nash, which again, I'm hating. Okay, I don't care. And at the dinner, she shows up again in a very beautiful dress, just trying to make a statement. Like, my God, guys, like, if we're rating this on based on how beautiful she looks, yeah, give it a 9, right? Because she's a 9, all right. So she's there, just doing her thing, acting like she just got out of prison or Arkham Asylum, fills her cup up to the brim, eats her food, makes a funny face at one of her nieces, And then, as the head of the family is making a statement, she cuts him off and is like, "Hey, just wanted to congratulate everybody, and I fucking hate you all for writing letters to the judge." I mean, she didn't say that, but she said it in those terms. I mean, when you're talking to family like that, you're being, what you're saying. And then, I was in my head, I was thinking like, how is she gonna like deal with them? Is she gonna like just murder them all at the table? There's a child there. How is she gonna do this? Well, later that evening or later that night, she walks her little niece out to the greenhouse and starts telling her a story, lures her out with a piece of chocolate cake. It's pretty creepy. All right, I'm not gonna, I'm not saying I can fix Sophia, but hey, you're luring a child out with some chocolate cake. You're really, I mean, she's already a supervillain. I mean, she's already murdered multiple people in cold blood, so her not being the hangman has nothing to do with this anymore. She's just a bad person. Even if you wanted to find anything appealing about her besides her beautiful face, eyes, and body, nah. Lures her out to the greenhouse, gives her a quick story. After she finishes the cake, they're like, "Hey, how about we just, spend time out here?" Walks back to the house with turns out with a gas mask. Immediately it clicks in my head. I'm like, oh, okay, so she's doing the gas thing, the CO2 thing, the methane thing, or whatever. Left the gas line on, and then this whole mansion over the course of 12 hours, or whatever, how long, she murdered the whole family, minus Johnny Vitti. Johnny Vitti was the guy who called the Dailao to set up the meeting to sell drugs. She has dirt on him. Well, had. And essentially murdered the head of the family, and now she's taking over. I assume she kept him alive because between her and the Dailao needs someone to, to talk to. And she's on a revenge path now to kill the penguin. It ends there. The episode ends there. Again, even after talking about it all, I still give it a 7. I don't think it was the best fucking episode on television like most people are claiming. I think like the internet is just being at the internet, and that the young people who have time to watch this all day, every day, fucking binging it and watching the streaming shows all day, you're watching garbage. You're just watching garbage. There's a ton of garbage out there. And you come across something really good, and you're like, oh my god, so good. Like, I've had this sensation before where it's like, oh my god, you have to watch it. It's like, yeah, you watch it once, and that's it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good, not great. And it was great when I first saw it, good after, and I still think it's good. I hope that the budget shows something later on. Maybe Batman shows up. Well, he's not going to show up. But this review's already gone on too long. I really appreciate everybody tuning in. Please tune in for the next episode 4 review. And I also would like to do some other stuff, all right? I want to upload some other content. I'll do my best to keep up with that. And I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you could please like and subscribe. I guess that's my call to action here. I want to make sure everybody goes ahead and subscribes. I would really appreciate it, and it would go a long way. Thank you guys so much, and have a good night. Bye-bye.